name's Trevor Slattery.
Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is directed by, bear with, Destin Daniel Cretton, let me know, and stars Simu Liu as the titular brand new character in the MCU, Shang Chi. Since 2013 and that movie right there, Iron Man 3, we have known all about the Ten Rings, the terrorist organisation. Well, I say we knew all about it, we kind of knew about it, but we finally get to know the origins, we get to know what's wrong and what's right about what happened in that movie right there. We are finally having the doors open to us about the legend of the Ten Rings and the terrorist organisation. This will be the 25th movie that the MCU has released. That's crazy. This is obviously just after the release of Black Widow. Unfortunately, that movie has a lot of controversy behind it now, and it also didn't have the impact that everyone was expecting because of the COVID pandemic, etc. This one is exclusively in the theatres, and I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know too much about this character. I should look into it, and quite frankly, because of this movie, I'm going to, and oh boy, was I wrong to not look into this and to have a look at the character, because I really wasn't expecting what I got. Okay, I'm gonna jump the gun here and just tell you already, this for me was the biggest surprise and the best surprise of 2021. I cannot praise the movie enough for surprising me, for taking me somewhere that I never thought I was going to go. Now, if that sounds big, let me explain it to you. Let's start off with the thing everybody loves, the visuals. This movie takes you from regular life to a different world, set in a mystical forest, into this new realm that's on planet Earth, and it's just stunning. The visual work is gorgeous. The creatures, the world they create around them, the reasoning behind these things, the integration of Asian culture into them, it's just stunningly done, and in a flowing way that doesn't take you away from the story. You know, it's still MCU, but it's very much of its culture and of its type, which I would say we haven't had an original movie like that since probably Thor Ragnarok is coming off the top of my head, something that was standalone on its own merit. Okay, Thor had all these other things that, you know, to build it up. This doesn't have that. Maybe this, as I said, it has got that 10 rings around it from the Mandarin stuff before, but it took all that, kind of poo-poos it as a little bit of a spoiler, and runs with this gorgeous way of doing things that I'm just wholeheartedly for, and I was in love with the world they've created in this. Not only that, but I would say the writing is pretty top notch. I mean, there's a few things, you know, the regular MCU foibles, the funny little jokes, and I will be honest with you, a lot of them didn't land. But it feels to me like the director put in lots of other things. Like, there's a huge scene that I will talk about in a minute that is just, you know, it's cultural things from other movies. It's one of these things that it kind of breaks its own barrier, and the writing doesn't detract from its own thing while still using other Asian influences, if that makes sense. It's been thought about. It's almost like they know that there isn't a lot of people that know who Shang-Chi is, like myself, and I went in there, maybe it was kind of intentionally not knowing anything, but that worked for me, really. If that's any advice I can give to you, is it's okay. If you don't know the character, you will love them by the end of this film, because it molds so well without having the pressure of, I don't know, fitting in a Stan Lee cameo. Unfortunately, I'm sure they would have done, but you know, it doesn't have the pressures of the other films, and it runs with that, and the writing reflects that, and it doesn't just try and shoehorn things it does mention the half the world snap, and I think that's because it kind of has to, but other than that, it's just its own entity with some really strong writing, which is hard to do when you've got this long 25 now, or technically 24 movies. You've got to run that lineage, but it's getting harder and harder the longer the films go on, but it's still managed to absolutely nail it. Can't ask for better writing than that when it just gets harder to do. When it comes to Shang Chi, Simu Liu does a fantastic job yet again. I'm very sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. He is a welcome addition to the MCU. It looks to me, by the way, spoiler, those 2 end credits do not leave until the very end, and the lights are completely up and people are coming to clean up your shitty popcorn wrappers. When you watch those, you can tell he's just in it, and he's going to be, I think, a very fluid addition, something entirely different, a shake-up, which quite frankly I think the MCU needed. It has been very formulaic. However much I love them, it can get a bit, big blue light in the sky and they all have to go and kill whatever's doing it, or whatever it might be. There is always the same formula. I feel that he has brought a huge element of a reshape and a rethink, and a character that is bold, strong and different, and he is just perfection. While we're on characters, I feel I may have to address just Hollywood right now, so if you just want to give me a minute. Hollywood, hi. Just want to let you know that Awkwafina doesn't have to just try and be funny. You've done it with Raya in The Last Dragon. She wasn't funny then. She wasn't funny in Ocean's 8 either. So just want to let you know, you can write a good script for her. Just stop letting her improvise. Okay, she's not that great. Love her as a character in this. When you give her the actual stuff to write, but you can almost see the little dip in the script where they go, Awkwafina, do your thing. Wasn't funny when she played Danny DeVito either in Jumanji, was it? I think you already know that. Just thought I'd let you know before we get back to this that is a big mistake. The MVP of the movie for me has to be something that isn't someone, or it's something. It's the choreography for me in this movie is just sublime. The choreography for me in this movie is some of the best I have ever seen. It's not of John Wick level in terms of the dirtiness of it. It is in the way that it is thought out. It feels like every step is thought out for me. It's fluid. I can almost, and while watching the movie, the word I was thinking was dance. It's not, they're hurting each other, they're killing each other, but it's, and this is totally intentional. You can see it within the first fight of the movie. If you've seen the film, you know what I mean. It is a dance. They're hurting, but it's like love, and it's fluid, and it's motion, and it's not just jump cuts. It's not Jason Bourne or shit editing. It's perfect dance, fluid, thought out, really nice, and quite clearly practical effects, wires and stuff, but you know what I mean. It's perfectly thought out. And what I'm going to allude to from what I said at the start of the video, near the start of the movie, where Shang-Chi is fighting in a bus, is a really nice, long, wide side one take that clearly influenced from the movie Old Boy. Not the Josh Brolin one, the original one, the better one. It takes influences like that in a film that can show you these nice techniques, that have been used in previous films from Asia, from Japan, from China. All these great directors like John Woo, etc. It shows you all of these great moves, and they're done so well, and that one take is just amazing, and it makes you just want to watch Old Boy again if you've seen that scene. I'm sure me will be editing this later and putting it over my own face. I'm quite sure of it. It's just so well done that I just couldn't. It makes you sort of it made me smile watching it, because you're like, this is just so good, so clean, so professional. And it's not like they're giving this character that no one's really heard of nothing to work with. They are caring about this character. They're not just going, no one's heard of Shang Chi, but we're just trying to, you know, make people happy. It's not. They care about this character as much as they do the other million that are already going to be ludicrously dumped into the next Avengers movie. It's getting bigger and bigger, and this makes me confident that they're not just going to keep relying on people keep complaining on Twitter about Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans not being in. They have the respect from me, really, which of course doesn't mean much, but they have the respect from me that they are going to get this right with new characters, and I can do nothing but respect the hell out of it and just recommend it. Thumbs up. Yes, go and see this movie. Do it now. So there you have it, guys. There's my take on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. If you have seen the movie, then please let me know in the comments down below. Let's have a good old chinwag about it. And before you go, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We're still slightly behind Chris Stuckman by a few million, so if you wouldn't mind just pressing out and down there, that'd be absolutely wonderful, guys. Until next time, this is your friendly neighbourhood ginger guy saying, Ginge out.